Doesn't being a sports talk radio host look like a bunch of fun? You get to dish out hot takes, say really dumb things, and of course, make some money. But just how much scratch can you make expunging diarrhea from your mouth? We're going to find out right after this. Before I get into this, I want to thank my buddies over at Watch Phantom for providing me with a ton of insider info on the radio industry. Watch Phantom is the new world order in sports media, and they bring a fresh angle to how we discuss and consume sports. Tired of those big box networks and their stale personalities? Then Watch Phantom is for you. I will link you to their YouTube channel and Facebook page down below. Please check them out. We will start with the lowest tier of income and work our way up to Colin Cowherd, Jim Rome status. We'll also be sprinkling in some insight into the business side of radio as well. The compensation for a sports talk radio host at the lowest level is surprisingly low. The comp model is almost always reflective on the size of the market, the time slot the host is in, and the most important factor, ad revenue. Radio hosts in small markets make as little as $25K in base salary. Ouch. Considering how much time goes into a show, usually 1 hour of prep for every 1 hour of on-air time, that's not much money. Oh, you thought they just turn on the mic and start talking? Wrong. For that little Skrilla, it's a wonder anyone does sports radio at all, but there are incentives that make being a host worthwhile, if you are any good. The most common kickers for a radio host are ratings bonuses and sponsorship/endorsements. Endorsements are the real prize that a hot take machine is going for. You know those quick ads they do at the end of a segment? Those pay the hosts a lot of dough, sometimes equivalent or more than their base salary. Here's where the needle gets moved. A good radio host in a decent market with just 2 sponsors should be making around $70K. Now we're talking. But who goes out and gets those sponsors? Usually it's a radio account executive, and they sometimes work with the talent to secure the ad dollars. They get a cut of the revenue, and the talent gets a fee, which is much less. So if you want to be in radio, better have some good hunters out there to get you your sponsors, and make sure they are trustworthy, because most of the time it's them and the studio negotiating the deal. Let's talk about the higher compensation models. A radio host with a good time slot and a regional footprint in a major market should haul down a little over 6 figures. A lot of that is dependent on time slot, with the morning and afternoon, the times when people are most likely in their cars, as the best times. The overall pay is higher because with some experience, you can negotiate a better base pay, usually around 60 or 70K. Quick fact, generally the lower your comp or smaller the market, the less production value you get as a host. If you are lucky enough to work with a large studio, you get producers pitching topics, sound engineers, and more buttons, maybe even a set of groupies. Just kidding about the groupies. Hot chicks usually don't care about sports, and they care even less about a bunch of blowhards pontificating about the impact of Boogie Cousins on an already stacked team. Also, just look at Brian Windhorst. One thing you can note about the mid to high tier comp is that talent doesn't necessarily dictate compensation. The sad reality in sports talk radio is that being good is not as important as selling yourself to local advertisers. Half of the local sports talk hosts are shitty at hosting, but good at selling themselves. Whoring is a universal business tactic. And speaking of whores, let's talk about our highest paid radio hosts. You've obviously got some icons at the top: Colin Cowherd, Dan Patrick, Le Batard, and Jim Rome. Their compensation is a little skewed because they have TV deals to simulcast their shows, but the key to them getting paid what they get is being nationally syndicated. That's what allows them access to huge sponsors and bonuses. Colin Cowherd has a contract that pays him $6 million annually. According to some sources, Jim Rome makes $30 million annually. I wonder if he gives Dead Air a cut of that. So there's your high end, and before you decide to go to school and become a radio god, know that there is a lot of dues you have to pay, and pretty much nobody gets to skip the line. Many of your favorite radio hosts started out in some podunk town in Kansas. Dan Patrick was the overnight oldies DJ in Dayton, Ohio. Skip Bayless hid under bridges and dished out hot takes to passersby on Tim Tebow's greatness. It's an extremely competitive market, and unless you were an athlete that already had a Q rating, you're going to be driving an XR4 Ti for a long time. Those are the rules. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please go check out Watch Phantom, and again, I'll link you in the description below, and Pete, myself, and Ari Temkin will be streaming weekly every Thursday night on the Hot Take Machine.